Welcome to the Rose City, Rip City, Stumptown, and Bridgetown. Welcome to the 7th episode of My Real Portland, the podcast. I'm My Real Portland host, Joseph Lyons. I'm so grateful you've tuned in and you are about to meet three amazing Portland originals, a comedian, a theater maker, and a mandolin player. Each My Real Portland episode features amazing artists and performers from all around the city. I'll ask them each the Fast Five, and then I'll throw in a game show on top of it all for a fun night out with friends, German food, and beer. Tonight's show was recorded live at Portland's Jade Lounge next to the Slide Inn at 23rd and Ankeny on October 9th, 2018. Speaking of Portland originals, the show is produced by myself, Joseph Lyons, Portland Realtor, helping home buyers and sellers make their real dreams become real estate. Putting the show together is my real dream, and I support this fun hobby with my professional day job in real estate. And my career is all word of mouth, so please tell others you know of My Real Portland the Realtor, Joseph Lyons. That's josephlyons.com. And now, on with the show.
It's always been home, I've always been here, I've always got time for one more beer. So pick up a beer and pull up a chair and strike up the band. It's My Real Portland.
Hello! Welcome, everybody! Welcome, Portland! Welcome to the Jade Lounge at 23rd and Ankeny. This is My Real Portland. I'm your host, Joseph Lyons, and I've got a fantastic show lined up for you this evening, including somebody I've known for 29 years, mandolinist Jonah Willbach. And for 26 years, I've known her, Charmian Creagle, theater maker. And in just a minute, I'll bring up to the stage comedian Brooks. So happy October, happy Halloween, everybody. How is everybody doing? Are you enjoying our fall weather? I mean, after the hottest summer, it's hot up here right now. There's not even stage lights on. This is terrible. But I am sweating. Like I was all summer, this fall is just fantastic. I don't think I have ever been so excited to see fall. We've all had a really kind of difficult time with the news and politics in the last couple of weeks, so hopefully we can forget about that. As I said earlier today on Facebook, life is pretty bad, but it could be worse. Imagine if squirrels were poisonous. So I didn't know what I wanted to do for kind of like my monologue this evening, so I'm going to work a story through each of my intros today. So in just a minute, we'll bring up my first act, like I do in all of my shows, a comedian, because that's how I want to start every show, with a good laugh and all of that. I started the show this way because I thought it would be a really fun thing to do, to create a show where I feature all of these wonderful performers who I had seen over the years at Helium Comedy Club and all sorts of comedy places, as well as work in musicians and storytellers and all sorts of different performers. And I remember that doing something like this was my childhood dream. I had always wanted to do theater from like when I was 15. But the owning a theater really came up when I was about 16, 17 years old and met Will Weigler, who's in the audience tonight, and wound up doing a bunch of really interesting projects with a group called Young Actors Forum in 1990. So we're going to weave a whole bunch of stories around today. One thing that we did during this Young Actors Forum, I was young. I was 17 years old in 1990, and a bunch, like 31 kids got together and co-wrote this musical. And it coincided at the same time with something that was happening in Portland called Artquake. And Artquake was this thing that was put on, the woman who organized it, her name was Mira Meyer. She'll come up a little bit later. And what she did was closed off part of Southwest Broadway for several blocks and had street vendors before anyone was doing street fairs and that kind of stuff in Portland. And at the ends of blocks, there was stages where people would perform. And I remember as part of our marketing for the show that we were doing, we all got up on one of these stages in a tent at the end of one of these streets in just right off of Southwest Broadway. And that was this moment where I thought, if we can bring theater out into the streets and make it accessible for everyone, this is everything. This is what I want to do. So Artquake became this really important thing for me. And so preparing for the show tonight, I actually found a little clip that I'd like to show you. And you can find the exact moment when I decided that my talent was not in music or in dancing, but might involve a microphone. So gather around. This was the end of our performance, singing "I'm Gonna Stand." That's Sherelle and Hanifa. And members of the audience that are on stage right now. Now, I was actually on stage. Here's my talent. So here I am, still with a microphone in my hand. Okay, now this is the part where I need to figure out how to turn this off. The fun thing about doing a podcast is that I got to edit all of this out that doesn't work. We'll just turn this off for a second, shall we? Okay, so that was 1990? 91? 1991, yeah. And so, you know, the dream of the 90s is alive with me in Portland, as well as many of the other guests here, including. So Artquake was important to me, but so was Willamette Week, because Willamette Week had all of the news about what was happening in arts and culture all around. I'm going to need to deal with this before I actually finish this intro. Oh, isn't technology wonderful? I just want to turn it there. Thank you. All right. Okay, so. I know I'm caught in a mic. All right. So, Artquake was important to me in 1990. It was something that was very important to me, and so was Willamette Week, because it had all of the arts and culture writing that was happening around town. And in 1998, my next guest became the arts and culture editor of the Willamette Week. She also has written for Time Magazine, Rolling Stone. She is on the board of the Pride Foundation, and I am so excited to bring to the stage comedian Brooks. Yay!
All right, I think I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is that Jonah Hill? Yes, for those listening at home, Jonah Hill, the kind of chubby, Jewy guy they put in movies to make Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt look even better. Hashtag justice for Jonah. It's easy to confuse us. Yes, he has a neck beard. I do not. But we both have to defend our manhood on like a daily basis. Our Jewish mothers would be proud. Let's hear it for Jewish mothers. Okay, so mine is dead. It's okay, because when you have a Jewish mother, they don't actually die. They haunt you for the rest of your life. It's like the ghost of Christmas past, but it's the ghost of Hanukkah past, but it's way more than 8 days, 8 nights. It's forever. Honey, you look pregnant in that. Sweetheart, you're wasting your talents. Cookie, why didn't you write Twilight? So that last one, it really happened. I was working at Time Magazine in New York when I got that call. I still don't know why I did not write Twilight. Right around now, I think there should be a Jewish mother haunted house. It would be exciting for everyone to experience what it's like. Like, here is the room of 1,000 things that will kill your Jewish mother. It's like, wear boyish clothes, wear clothes that are too tight, wear clothes that are too big, wear purple clothes, wear white clothes. All right, just let her fucking pick out the goddamn clothes already. And then over here, this is the room of dead expectations. Meet Josh, the lawyer with the late night advertising law firm. You were supposed to marry him. Not gonna happen. And here's size 2 dresses, never worn. And a whole file cabinet of feminine wiles, never used. So taut though. Yeah, so as you could well imagine, I am a twitchy and neurotic person from my upbringing, and that has not helped me so much on the queer dating scene here in Portland, Oregon, where we're being laid back almost to the point of being unconscious is what is prized here. These folks, they want to go roll around at the bluffs, and I'm like, ticks, they definitely have ticks there, and I don't want any part of it. And their idea of a romantic meal is proffering up psychotropic mushrooms they're experimenting with in their backyard. I will pass. And they all want to get lost in the woods. And it's like, I've seen that movie. People like me do not do well. I'm not going there. But like most people, I want to live a happy, fulfilled, non-lonely life. So I've had to really put my mind to it and think, how can I turn this around? How could I make my perceived weaknesses into a strength? So I came up with a character that helps me get through it. And I'd like to introduce you to Safety Daddy. Safety Daddy, who is Safety Daddy? Safety Daddy will lovingly help you put together an earthquake preparedness kit. Safety Daddy will hold hands with you while checking for your smoke alarms, whether they work or not. I'll grab you by the waist and take you around the perimeter of your home and make sure that you have proper lighting, preferably motion detector oriented, and basically, Safety Daddy, tops from the bottom, bottoms from the top, until you don't know what's happened. You just feel really, really secure. I just long have had sub-zero game when it comes to dating. Just not good. I mean, like in the aughts, I met this wonderful, nice lady. We went on a first date. It went well. I'm like, let me plan this second date. Let me do it. I'm going to make it great. And I bought tickets to see a movie that was out in the theaters at the time, a little movie called Dancer in the Dark. I don't know if anyone has seen this movie. It stars Bjork, and it's probably one of the saddest movies ever made. And if there was a top 10 list of movies not to take someone on a second date to, This would be one of them. In the middle of the movie, she starts crying. Understood. Here's some tissues. Movie is over. She's still crying. We exit the theater, crying still. In the car, crying. At her house, crying. And so at some point, I'm like, you know what? No one she actually knows in real life has died. I'm gonna try to change the subject and just try to save this date. But the next day, she called me and said that she didn't want to go out with me again because I seemed uncomfortable when she was crying. Guilty. Guilty as charged. I'm like, even, not too long ago, second date, I think it's going well. She says to me, look, I just want to let you know that we don't actually have any romantic potential. And because, she wanted to let me know why, because you like karaoke and the idea of it makes my stomach churn. And I said, okay, well, I usually don't make my dates do karaoke or be in the proximity of karaoke. And she said, no, it's just the idea that you like it. It's rough out there. It's rough out there. But you know what? I've also had some wins. Like many people in Portland, I have tried my hand at the poly lifestyle. Yes, it's very popular right now. And for a period of about 3 months, I had 2 awesome girlfriends. It was great. I was like, what did I do to deserve this? It's not like I have a big schlong or something. And it's like, well, I do, but anyone can get one of those. And really, let's face it, I didn't write Twilight, but it was just working out really well, but I had to end it because it was too hard on my knees. What can you do? My girlfriend and I recently broke up. It was the second time we had broken up, gotten back together, broken up, gotten back together. And it's okay. I feel like we were doing our part for the queer ecosystem. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. There's someone like that. Look, life is full of love and heartbreak, and, sometimes you're just going to have a breakup. And I don't know what it is about me, but more than once I've been handed this list a very direct list of things they would like back. I tend to feel like kind of cut your losses, take care of your heart, be nice to the other person, but the list often appears, and I'm going to read you one of these lists that I received from someone after we broke up. Maybe you can help me decipher it. Subject, things of mine I would like back. Gold address book. Small bottle of Aveda foot lotion. Vibrator, harness, small bottle of lube. Helmet, 4 white creme brulee dishes. Herb garden, $94 for groceries, $13 for the estate sale ties, $6 for cooling rack, $12 for Debbie's movie ticket, $9 for the Bend Airbnb cancellation fee, and $6 for seltzer. Now, I gotta tell you, I did my best to return all these things, but the small bottle of Aveda foot lotion was hidden, and I recently found it, and I'm kind of using it, and I don't think I'm giving it back. All right, thank you.
Thank you once more time for Brooks. Hi, welcome.
Hi, awesome.
It's
Great
so
to hear.
great. Thank you for being on the show. Mm-hmm. So every comedian that I've had on the show, in fact, most of my guests have not been from Portland originally. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I moved here in 1991, which I think deserves some cred.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
During the 90s. That's when most of the people here all met each other.
And everyone thinks I'm very aggressive and mean here, but I am so nice for Philadelphia, you don't even know. I'm like a cream puff.
Okay, so I'm from Portland. Give me an example. What does that mean? How would I know that you're not a Portlandian?
Well, I've had to change my behaviors a lot. But initially, when I would move here, if I like saw someone I knew, I'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And like people would literally be offended by that. It was just like like the abbreviation of it was offensive. Yeah,
That's very familiar.
Yeah, so that. What else? I asked for kosher chickens at the meat counter, and they don't know what it is. I mean, that happened all the time.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was that look.
So what brought you out to Portland in 1991?
Yeah, I graduated from college. There was a recession, and I had some friends who moved out here, and they're like, "Hey, it's cool here. You should move out here." And I was like, "Okay." This is like pre-internet. I literally knew nothing about this place. I just grabbed a suitcase and I came, and I just liked it for reasons I still don't fully understand. Like I like hiking now, but I sure didn't back then. And like everyone thought I was rude But maybe that was part of it. I feel like I had a lot of chutzpah, and it like went a long way here. You know, it's like parting of the seas.
A lot of chutzpah. I love that. So you were here for a little while. You left, and then you came back.
Yes.
And when you were gone, like my next guest, you went to New York.
Yes.
How did that come about?
I got a fellowship at Columbia. It was like one of those amazing once-in-a-lifetime things where they paid me, and I just got to study and work on a research report for a year. It was great. But once I was there, I was like, well, let's see how long I might last. Let me stay for a while. And I ended up staying for 6 years and working at a bunch of media companies. I worked at the Associated Press for 5 years. But, I really miss Portland. I truly did. I just, this is the thing about New York. Like, two types of people move to New York. The first type is like, I can never live anywhere else. And then the second type is, how long will I last? And I was definitely like a second type. But
did you know that when you first moved there that you weren't going to last, or?
No, I mean, you get a sense pretty early on. Like, it's really an introverted, extroverted type thing. Like, if you get energy from like people being this close to you on the subway, like, you're gonna do good. Like, one of my best friends, she's just like the most extroverted person. She loves talking to everybody everywhere, and like I just needed to like rest all the time outside of work. So, yeah. And the smell was, it got to me after a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Portland had been calling to you, and you came back to do what?
Well, at that point, it was just clear to me that journalism was doomed, which is a very sad statement for me to make. I mean, I have the biggest respect for the people who are out there still doing it, but it's hard to make a career at it these days, unless you want to work 24 hours a day for very little pay, and I salute those who are doing it. They're doing very important work. But I needed to make a transition. So when I came back, I made a transition. I actually ended up getting a job with Sam Adams. So I worked in the mayor's office for a bit and doing communications, and then just kind of shifted to doing communications. And now I'm a civil servant of the First Order.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how long have you, speaking of being a civil servant, you are on the board of the Pride Foundation.
Yeah.
What does the Pride Foundation do?
So the Pride Foundation is a kind of granting organization for LGBTQ causes. It's covers 5 states, so Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska, and they give scholarships. We created a rapid response fund recently just to deal with a lot of the current events and trying to get money to the causes as they were popping up. As you know, they were popping up every day, and it's just a great organization that does amazing work in the communities.
Fantastic. Are there any projects that are coming up with Pride that you'd want to
we just had our gala here. It happened. But there's always something going on with Pride Foundation. You can always donate. Our scholarship program is amazing. There's a lot of people, when they come out as trans, they come out as gay, whatever they come out as, and their parents disown them, and that's one of the levers the parents have is that we're not going to pay for your school. And so our scholarship program really, really helps support people in those situations. So it's a great cause.
It's fantastic. So switching gears just a little bit, you made a switch to comedy about a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
So I wanted an outlet because I wasn't doing journalistic work, and I'm a civil servant, which is awesome, but it's not very creative. So I needed an outlet, and some friends from the Les Stand Up comedy troupe, who are amazing and awesome, and were really like barrier breakers in this town, created a kind of free, multi-class series for basically women and other like underrepresented groups. To teach them the tools of comedy. And I said, well, let me give it a try. And I don't know if I would have done it if they had not Mel Haywood in specific put on this class, because once it's very nerve-wracking, and I'm not like a theater kid. I was on the paper, so I was very serious writing my articles, and so it's the performance part that is very nerve-wracking for me, and I don't think I would have done it if I hadn't had that opportunity to practice with those folks. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so how often do you get out and do stand-up?
Not a lot. I'm not like an open mic person. I'm not kind of grinding it out to try to get on a sitcom or something. I like to perform in front of very cool, friendly audiences and hopefully be home before 11, So, I'm in a comedy troupe that we created from that class. It's called That's What She Said, Feminist Comedy Collective. And we perform, every 3 months or so. And our whole thing is our proceeds from our shows go to a partner nonprofit. So each show we partner with a nonprofit, and we give the funds to them. And that's awesome. It's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just something I wanted to say. Previous guest on the show, Melinda Pittman, actress, performer, comedian, whatnot. I asked her this question about the switch of like all of our American attention from the weeknight news anchor to getting all of our news really from comedians. And it seems that comedy has a way of helping us understand things in more complex ways. And do you find that you're able to do some of that, to tell more complex issues through comedy than you did through journalism?
No, I just mostly talk about sex, but other people do, and it's a great art form. And you know what? The market's built in for it, right? So it's a way of like getting the news out and actually creating a career out of it that might pay you. But I salute those people that do.
That's great. So you mentioned your comedy troupe. Where can people follow you? How can people find out when your shows are?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook. That's What She Said, Comedy Collective. Our next show is November 9th at the Siren Theater, and the Equi Foundation is our partner for this one. They help folks who are transitioning with all kinds of assistance. They're a great organization, so.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Brooks and everyone else in between. Brooks.
Do we play the game?
That's right. I always forget that. That sound means it's time for the Fast Five.
See, I'm a listener. I'm a close listener. I was like, where's my Fast Five?
People actually listen to the podcast. It's fantastic. Okay. So here are tonight's Fast Five. Do you have a pumpkin yet, or will you have one before Halloween?
No, I'm anti-pumpkin.
Anti-pumpkin. A lot of fans. Okay, so who is pro-pumpkin in the audience? Okay. It's fine. We can have. We are friends of everybody. No judgments. What's your favorite thing about Portland in the fall?
I mean, we're really good at flannel and sweaters, and everyone looks really great wearing them. We're really great at layering, and I love the beginning of layering season.
The layering season.
Yeah. Like we created it here in Portland and Seattle, so yeah.
That's wonderful. So I vote in my pajamas with a giant cup of coffee sitting on my couch. How do you vote?
Quickly before leaving for work. It's not that, I just want, I want to get it done. I want to get it right. I don't want to forget doing it. So, it's like a morning thing. There'll be some chai tea perhaps, and probably a few newspapers and like some kind of voter guides spread out in front of me and kind of just figuring it out.
Over chai tea.
Yeah,
Love
I do
it.
like some chai.
Everyone loves pizza. What's your favorite pizza place in Portland?
A Pizza Shoals. Yeah, it's just, to me, like the craft in it's really good. It's just really tasty. It's like, I'm from Philadelphia, obviously, and so it just has this kind of realness and kind of chew factor that I'm pro. Pizza Shoals, like a million other people who wait in line.
So pro chew factor, anti-pumpkin. All right. Got it. What's your happiest memory in town?
All the times I've fallen in love.
I immediately start thinking of all the places I've fallen in love. Yeah.
We already heard about the breakups, but yeah.
We'll talk about that after the show. All right. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, Brooks. My next guest is a theater director and producer with The Reformers, along with her husband, actor Sean Doran. Originally from the Los Angeles area, she studied theater in Ashland, then spent a decade in New York before returning to Portland. She is the co-chair of the Buckman School PTA. Charmian has been a dear friend of mine for over 25 years. Please welcome to the stage, Charmian Creagle.
Hello. There it is.
Hello. So, living again.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to be my first question. Tell me about living again.
Well, our company is very inspired by the Living Theater, which is a company that started in the 70s in New York. It was a commune-based company that believed in integrating socially responsible ways of living and theater. And so we feel like we are trying to replicate that same thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. So how long have you been, has this company been doing this?
Well, this company, again, is The Reformers. And the reason it is The Reformers is in the 90s, like we've all been talking about tonight, my partner, my spouse, and I were in a company called The Other Side Theater, and it was more absurdist, avant-garde based. So when that theater dissolved, because we all moved to different places, I, like Brooks, moved to New York, tried it out for 9 years, and decided I wanted to come back as well, and raise our family. We dissolved and just decided to reform. And so there we go. But it also has a double meaning because we want to change the way the theater community is and can be.
Mm-hmm. So how does that manifest itself through your productions?
Well, we lean into themes that are important to us. We create our shows from the get-go. So we have a group of members. One of them is over here, Richard. And we get together and we talk about themes that are important to us and themes that we're interested in and how we can integrate maybe all of those themes together. Then we write the piece, and then we tear it apart a little bit, and then we rewrite the piece, and then we put it up. And it's we like to think of our theater as more of kind of hybrid of different things. We really love immersion because we believe that the more someone can get involved, the more you break through that fourth wall, the more people will take in. And we often integrate our progressive views And we also like to entertain as well. And so our first, or our production this year that's happening in 2 weeks, I put some flyers out. We've kind of gotten a reputation for doing shows at Halloween. And what we do is really intimate. Is that okay?
It's perfectly fine.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, good.
Nothing's perfect.
Nothing is I believe in B+.
Exactly, right?
B+ is the best.
It needed to happen that way.
So we do immersive. We love writing kind of fun stories, especially at Halloween time. We love getting people in there. For instance, this show, it's 12 people at a time. We bring you into these kind of intimate spaces, and we tell you a story. So it's a unique experience. It's not like a haunted house at all where you go in just to be scared. There's a little of that. There's some creepiness, but there's also some lovely little Easter eggs and thought-provoking things that are going on in these stories. And they're 20 to 25 minute long, so you can go in and then go hang out with your friends afterwards. So if you like it or you don't like it, you've had an artistic experience for the evening, and then you're done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's our fundraiser for this Halloween. Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, I worked on a show with the Reformers a couple of years ago called Le Boite. Really fantastic show that was put together with the actors in the show with letters that you had found between your parents and their parents and friends of the family. How did that show come about?
Well, my mother had recently passed away a couple of years before, and what I really enjoyed, we always take away things from our families to hold on to. And what I took away was this mountain of letters from my grandmother to my mother, from my mother to my father, from this wonderful Episcopal priest that I grew up knowing to my grandmother, and these conversations that I was able to witness. It all came together for me that I had to do something with it. I had to create art with it because there were so many things being said. As a woman, there were so many themes that kept just ringing true, or not ringing true, but ringing false, actually. That the patriarchal society, is just beating down on my grandmother. She was such a perfect domestic. And she wrote these letters to my mother that described how you be the perfect wife. Reading these just kind of put a dagger in my heart. And then my mother's desire when she wrote her back to make her mother happy and also to make her husband happy kind of was drowning her. And you saw that again in these letters. So how it manifested was into these visions. I have to say, mythic monsters and creatures are in my mind constantly. And so I just saw these letters as ghosts. And we created this piece that had that feel and that element and that need to make change by being communicated in this way. And we didn't have a lot of audience. Again, we had just moved back from New York, and making theater in the 90s was so much easier. We had really a lot of things to learn. And I would say our houses, never got past 50%. They were really small. And it was one of those things where I loved creating the piece, and it kind of at the end didn't matter who saw it, but in a way I think now is the time for that piece, because I think it really is we need to keep beating on this drum that says, hey, this stuff needs to change. We need to change our viewpoint on gender and on what it means to be who we are. And so I love that was our first piece, and it really is a big chunk of my heart personally. And one of the performers is she played my mother sitting right here, which is lovely. It was a great way to start, and even though a lot of people didn't see it, it still really sticks. It sticks true.
Well, just to tell you how working on that show, by the way, inspired me was by seeing how that show came together and by the inspiration that you had of essentially the core of it being your mom. When my mom recently passed, I found myself doing the same thing of needing to find that creative inspiration, something from my mom that then resulted in this show that brings us full circle to this moment. So,
yay.
Being full circle, we have known each other since 1992 in Southern Oregon, and
roommates.
You started off in LA before that. Did you want to do theater that whole time?
Oh yeah, I grew up wanting to be something. I didn't know, but I wanted to do something, that was interesting. And I remember wanting to be an actor and then wanting to be a Shakespeare actor. And that's what landed me in Ashland. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, oh my God, I don't want to act.
Acting sucks.
It just wasn't the discipline for me. And what I really enjoy is creating theater. And again, from the get-go, drudging out the ideas, writing the script, rewriting the script, creating the picture, and thrilling people. Mm-hmm. That's what I like doing. I like being backstage and putting the puzzle pieces together.
And thrilling people. I love that. So you're married to an actor.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well,
I mean, I've been an actor, and we are really emotional, terrible people sometimes.
Yes, there's that. My partner is actually the type of actor that I do really well with. He is not, he's really grounded. He's very grounded as a person, actually quite shy. If he was here tonight, he might be hiding, kind of over there, unless he had a couple beers, and then he'd be, he'd be able to chat with people. But he's, of course, working together is a challenge because we are both emotional people. I think people who are in the arts, we have a lot of feeling, and we're trying to either work through or convey or help other people work through. There's always that element involved, and so it can be really challenging sometimes. And but we've been together over 20 years now, and I think today we were frantically running around trying to get this thing together, and nipping each other here and there sometimes. But we allow ourselves that because we know the process. We know what we're going through, and we've figured out a way of making it work. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're a mom.
I am.
And your kids go to Buckman Elementary.
Yes, an arts-focused school in Portland. It's wonderful. We have a former teacher over here, Giselle. Yeah, I love that school.
And your kids have also gotten into performing a little bit?
Yeah. They have, and not necessarily. In fact, from the beginning, especially Sean was like, "We're not letting them do anything." But it just kind of happens. Sean was in a show at Imago Medea, however you pronounce it. And the director, Jerry, was looking for some kids. And Sean asked Duncan, do you want to be in it? And he said, yeah. And I have to say, I was kind of impressed. You know, I mean, they don't do much. They die on stage. And, you know, but it was the most convincing dead child I've ever seen on stage. So that was pretty cool. And so, actually, he's going to be featured in this piece, the first leg of this piece that we're doing on the 19th. And my daughter as well. Her first foray, besides classes, was in actually Jen right here has directed a film that's really lovely. Yeah, and so my daughter played a little piece in that, and she loved it. And she's a very shy child as well. Yeah.
Since we're here, can we bring Jen up for
Yeah,
just a second?
I think we should. Yeah.
Jen Elkington, ladies and gentlemen.
Another SOU grad.
Okay, so we're just talking about Cleo and that she's in this movie. Tell me about this movie that you've written and directed.
Feel weird. Sorry, Charmian.
No, please. I'm happy.
We're all family.
I'm all about sharing the wealth.
Okay, it's a short, and I call it my post-Trumpocalypse thriller, fantasy thriller. And so we shot it it's about a year and a half ago. It was in June of 2017. So, and it won Best Fantasy at Oregon Independent Film Festival. And the premise is basically there's no more immigration. Women will have to wear these weird masks, and no more art, no more music, and there's like no food. It's a terrible place. You don't want to be there. I know.
But it was beautiful.
Thank you. It's actually playing at Portland Film Festival at the end of the month on October 28th on that Sunday. So
fantastic.
So you can see it there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. A brief little moment from Jen Elkington.
My daughter's in the first scene.
I mean, Cleo's in it, so it's a family show, right? So, what else do we need to talk about?
I don't know. What do we need to talk about?
The
parties that we went to in college. Should we go there?
No. Oh gosh.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. That one party.
We were good people in college.
We were fantastic mostly. Okay. So, where can people get tickets for the show? How can they find out about the show and follow you?
Yes. So you can go on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I have flyers. Our website is thereformerspdx.com. And there's four performances a night, the 19th and 20th and the 26th and 27th before Halloween. So you have multiple chances. It is intimate, and we are over halfway booked. So I would check it out and book as soon as you can.
Awesome. That sound means it's time for the Fast Five. Charmian, are you ready for tonight's Fast Five?
I am, I think.
You have a pumpkin yet, right?
No.
I'm surprised. You will have one before Halloween.
Oh, we will have multiple.
Yeah.
I usually grow pumpkins, and they failed this year. It was so dry.
So hot.
And where we had them in our garden, they just didn't grow. And it's the first year in a long time that I wasn't able to grow some pumpkins. So I'm a little devastated by that. But we will, Buckman has a fundraiser, and it's going through the maze. So at Bella Organic Pumpkin Patch, I am totally advertising for them, I guess. But they are supporting a lot of public schools. So I think that's a good thing to support. And it is really fun going through the mazes. It's fun with the family, letting the kids kind of guide us and then go picking out some pumpkins and whatever, eating some candied apples and all the things that you do over on Sauvie Island. It's a pretty fun time. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Portland in the fall?
It has to be the trees and the leaves. As I've gotten older, nature has really just popped for me. And living in New York for 9 years, and unless you walk around Central Park, pretty absent of that. So I love the colors and just watching the leaves fall and the seeds and what nature has to provide here. It's my favorite thing about Portland.
So I vote in my pajamas. How do you vote?
I vote. You know what? I'm not a regular person. I don't do things in a regular way. So sometimes it's frantically at my desk. Sometimes it's as I run out the door. I usually do a lot of research beforehand, and so I know what I'm voting for. But I have to say I'm like kind of that last minute person that has to get my car in line to get to the ballot box, just in case something happens, just in case we hear something about someone.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
can happen. Everyone loves pizza. What's your favorite pizza? Yeah, right. I mean, I started off the question like that, but what if people don't love pizza?
I love pizza, but I am gluten and lactose intolerant.
Mm-hmm. So do you still have a somewhere that you eat pizza?
So my family goes to Blackbird.
Okay.
It's on 20th and Hawthorne, and we love going there. And actually, they have a really good gluten-free pizza.
Awesome.
Just so you know, I'm sure they're.
I mean, it never hurts to share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's enjoyable. And they also support Buckman with free pizzas.
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
a lot of our events too. So
That's awesome.
I love people who support other people. Yeah.
What's your happiest memory in town?
That has to be falling in love with my spouse,
No.
I have to say.
So where was
there's
that?
2 of them, and also giving birth to my second child who was born here. My first child was born in New York. So that seems pretty standard. But I have to say, I think, we fell in love walking Belmont, going to the Vern. That's pretty long time ago. That's still around. Then it was pretty quick, and we're still happy. So
Oh, that's
it's good.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, all right. So we will all be at your show in a couple of weeks, ladies and
Sounds
gentlemen,
good.
and everyone else in between. Charmian Creagle.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. My Real Portland is brought to you by me, Joseph Lyons. Let me find this card that comes next after this. This is just so much fun. Here we go. Okay, little story time, short story time. In 2000, I needed to get outside and meet new people. And so I wrote this list of 100 things that I wanted to do for the next year. And one of those was get outside and do volunteer work. I also actually wrote down that I wanted to make 5 new friends on this list. And I also said that I wanted to know more about Oregon history. And by the end of that year, I had started this organization called the Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery, which is the cemetery that's just about 5 blocks over here. And since it's Halloween time, I thought we would talk about Lone Fir Cemetery for just a little bit. So I had mentioned that I had always wanted to own my own theater. And in 2001, that opportunity kind of came up. So I had started doing all this work on cemetery historic preservation. And one of the things that had been happening around the nation was that people were doing these costume tours at the cemetery, at the little pioneer cemeteries all around the nation. And we always had this idea, what if we did that here in Portland? And so in 2001, we had this really bad bout of vandalism on Memorial Day. About 50 tombstones were vandalized. And we had this huge outpouring of volunteers that came into the cemetery after that. And they brought loppers and scrub brushes, and we scrubbed this at least portion of the cemetery. It's 26 acres, so it's pretty big. But we all that moment was so huge. We had all these people there, and we wanted to do more. We wanted to help people understand what the cemetery was, why it was there, why it was still there, and who was buried there. And so my theater background came up, and before I knew it, I had started this the first costume tour at the cemetery. And I played the Oregonian founder, Thomas Dwyer, who started the Oregonian in 1850. And it was a really fun project to get to do. It helped Metro, that owns the cemetery, move their politics a little bit along and help take care of their pioneer properties. Years later, Multnomah County tore down a building that was sitting on the cemetery in an area called Block 14, which Chisao has actually been part of doing another version of a tour at the cemetery that helps interpret the cemetery. This was about 5 years after I had done mine, which was totally amazing to see that we had this in common. And then, well, you'll find out a little bit more in the game show that's about to come up. So a couple of names. Oh, and I have more. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm shuffling them up. I'm not looking at any of the names, I swear, and I'm going to pull the first name out. And it's Udemine! And Hoban Spalding! Come on up to the stage. I have 7 questions all about Lone Fir Cemetery, but they're going to be pretty easy. You're going to be able to answer them, I think. We are just blocks from Portland's Lone Fir Cemetery, and it's October, All Halloween month. I have 7 questions about Lone Fir Cemetery history, and after I ask each question, if you think you have the right answer, you'll call in by saying your name. So, I'm going to give you a test question. Portland's famed Henry Weinhard is buried in what cemetery?
You have to say her name?
Yes.
Oh.
Hoban.
Hoban.
Oh.
Yes.
Lone Fir Cemetery?
That is incorrect. That was a trick question. It's Riverview. All right. The rest of these questions are about Lone Fir. All right. Asylum Avenue was renamed for a Southeast Portland doctor whose hospital was at the intersection of it and 12th Street. So Asylum Avenue was renamed for a Southeast Portland doctor whose hospital was at the intersection of Southeast 12th and what street?
Udemine. Ankeny?
Udemine. No, incorrect. Hoban, do you want to take this one?
I'm going to guess.
No guesses from the audience. Did you hear that?
I have a feeling she might be right.
Is she right?
She is.
Okay, then I'm going to guess Hawthorne.
Hawthorne. Oh my gosh. Fantastic, Hoban. How did you get that? Okay, so that's 1 point for Hoban. Asylum Road, speaking of Asylum Road, was a song released on Dearly Departed, a benefit album for Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery, featuring what famous local Portland singer? I will give you a hint. She shares an unfortunate first name with 2018's most famous porn star.
That's
Clearly.
not true.
I think we need to work as a team here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. We're changing your rules.
Yes.
Okay.
You can confer if you'd like.
All right. We're mixing this up. Okay, clearly it's Stormy, right?
Yes.
And the only famous people I can think of was the girl who was married to Bruce Springsteen or
Right.
the New Shoes people. But I
Right.
don't remember their names.
She
Right.
knows who it is, and she's right. Can we share this point? Is that fair?
You can absolutely share this point.
Yeah, it has to be Storm Large.
It is Storm Large. That is correct. Oregon's first poet laureate is buried at Lone Fir Cemetery. His name was Samuel Simpson. He was an early graduate of what Salem Learning Institution?
Well, Western is right outside of Salem. But that's Monmouth,
That is.
right? So that's not quite. Well, there's the penitentiary. Could we call that a learning institution?
There's what else is there? There's Chemeketa over there.
That's not terribly wrong.
Oh,
Wasn't
my
Chemeketa.
great aunt was in the insane asylum in Salem. That could be a learning, with big bold quotation bunny ears around it, a learning institution.
Well, I will give it to you. It was Willamette University. See, I thought that might be good. Okay, this one's going to be difficult. The first burial at Lone Fir Cemetery is Daniel Crawford, who died while working at his place of employment in 1846. It was on a river. On what did he work?
Udemine.
Udemine.
Ferry. A ferry?
Close.
So we're assuming it's
Some kind
sort
of a ship.
Barge.
It is some kind of a ship. So Hoban gets that.
Barge. I don't know.
It sounds like we should know this.
Are you a shippy person?
No.
Do you know names of
is it
different
the- is it-
kinds of ships?
Actually, the answer is steamship. So you actually get it.
Okay, it wasn't the Portland Spirit or something like we would
No.
all
Oh.
know. Okay.
No, this was 1846. I think it was called the Observer or something. Responsible for naming of the city of Portland. This city founder and Lone Fir resident is known for his civic passion and general happiness.
We all learned this in school. We
right.
should know this.
I don't remember his name, but I remember it was almost Boston.
Reverend.
It's the flip of a coin that it got Portland.
That's right.
So, from The Simpsons, he shares the last name of the Reverend.
It's not Flanders. Not Flanders.
I'm shocked.
It's not Flanders. What's his? That's the Heidel. What's his name?
I am so disappointed.
We're on the spot
It's,
here.
it's
really
there
shocked.
and it's gone and I can't
really
access it. My brain feels like Swiss cheese right now. There's holes where there should be matter.
So okay, I'm just going to do the last part of this one more time. I wrote this a month ago, and I forgot that I included the hint to the answer in the.
This had better be easier because these are far harder than you led us to believe.
I know, right?
I'm just saying.
He's known for passion and general happiness.
Oh my God, that's me.
Passion and happiness. All right, I'm going to give it to you. It's Asa Lovejoy.
Oh, see, we should
Passion
have known
and
that.
happiness, love and joy. Okay. The Maclay Mausoleum is partially protected by movie scenery from a 1993 movie that was filmed in the cemetery, and these film pieces are still on the Maclay Mausoleum. What movie was filmed in 1993 at Lone Fir Cemetery?
Oh, is it the Gus Van Sant one?
That's not the name of a movie.
I know, but that's the director.
Are you a
And-
movie buff? Do you? I have no
The
idea.
hint,
Am I
it
close?
stars Madonna.
Oh,
No.
Desperately Seeking Susan.
No.
No, that was New York.
That is a Madonna movie.
That is a no.
It was called Body of Evidence.
No, wouldn't have gone there.
No.
Never would have gotten that.
No, never would have got it.
Okay, now
We aren't.
We're
good.
failures.
We aren't good pop.
No.
Media Americans.
We
Okay.
have other strengths.
Yeah.
Can we talk about those?
absolutely.
No.
Right after you answer this last question. The gravestone for Julius Caesar was paid for by city benefactors when the popular personality and freed slave was found dead on July 4th, 1905. The stone features a phrase, as he was known to say, and is a popular baseball umpire's saying. Name the phrase.
Joe, this is way harder than you last.
Okay.
What does a baseball umpire say?
You're out of here?
No.
Threes.
Play ball.
Play ball!
Woo!
Oh my gosh!
Well done!
Were you getting hints from the audience?
The only thing I know about baseball is I went to one game, like a professional game in Baltimore, saw the Orioles, saw a home run by Cal Ripken, had a nasty hot dog, had a Schlitz beer, saw somebody thrown out of the game, and I felt like, oh, I've had the complete experience. I never have to do this again. Right? Yeah.
And now you've had the complete experience of losing My Real Portland, the game show. Which means you get the My Real Portland, a pint glass. And Hoban, you not only get My Real Portland, the pint glass, you also get Nicole Podolsky's CD, You Want to Know About Me. And you also get 4 tickets to holidays and 4 tickets to Creating a Day of Memories. Congratulations!
Cheers, my dears!
So my next guest is the co-founder with his wife of the Lentz Chicken Beauty Contest. He is an accomplished mandolin player and plays with the band Post-War Radio. Jonah and I co-wrote a musical in 1991 with 30 other young actors and performed at Interstate Firehouse Cultural Center. Please welcome Jonah Willbach.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a brief introduction for this song. I wrote it when I was at Sisters Folk Festival, and it was a wonderful combination of cowboys and freaks. So this song is about leaving the rodeo for the circus, and asking a buddy to join you when you leave the rodeo for the circus. I left behind the bucking broncos and good old boys for the circus tent, but I should never have left you there. So come with me, you're my only friend. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. I gave my life away last summer when I gave it to the tent, and you're still trying to put your life together so you can pay the rent. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. I've seen serpents in the moonlight. I've seen unicorns in rain. I've seen elephants on high wires. And I've seen you in too much pain. You can finally get away now. You can finally just let go. I see the circus melting your heart like a sunbeam melting snow. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. Down along the rodeo, nobody needs you no more. You told me one time that you don't belong, you're different from the rest. So come I'm with those who understand you're not just different, you're the best. Down along the rodeo, down along the rodeo, down along the rodeo. Nobody needs you no more.
Wow, thank you, Jonah.
Thank you.
So have a seat if you can. So we'll be here for a couple seconds.
It's a little tricky to sit with this.
Okay, so go ahead and sit.
Cool.
That's all right. So, Jonah, this is my real Portland. What's your real Portland story?
My real Portland story. Well, I grew up here, so that's a good start. I grew up in the Irvington neighborhood mostly, which was great. It's a neighborhood that in the 90s celebrated diversity, which was fantastic. I went to Irvington Elementary, and then I went to Fernwood Middle School and Grant High School, and studied. I was always interested in social change and politics and social justice, and I studied sociology and public administration at Portland State University, and I worked for the city since 2004.
That's awesome. And how? So you've stayed in town this entire time?
I lived in Austin, Texas for 1 year. It was
You
a good
did?
experience. Yes.
So okay, what year was that, by the way?
That's a good question. That was 99 and 2000. It was 1 year worth of living there. Yeah.
Did you experience a difference after leaving and then coming back? Did Portland feel like a different place? Or did it feel really more the same?
It felt pretty similar.
It did?
Yeah,
Okay.
at that time. Portland has changed extremely quickly recently. But yeah, that 1 year didn't seem much different at that time.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see kind of like how those times away from town can affect us. So tell me about post-war radio.
Post-war radio is fun as hell. I love playing with these guys. I've played in bands since I was 14, and this is the most fun I've ever had. In fact, I think that's the first time I've said that, and it's very true, and I love it. And it shows on stage. For the live studio audience, folks who are here, there are cards. If you like what you hear, go ahead and grab a post-war radio card, and it has all our media stuff.
Fantastic. So there's something very interesting on the post-war radio website about why it was formed, and it had to do about your songwriting, and it was really it's in a lot of most of the music that post-war radio does is your own writing. Is that right?
It's about half and half. So
Okay.
It's me and my buddy Jacob. We started the band. I play Americana, and he really has a punk rock background, but that is not entirely what influences us. We have other band members who play large parts in the songwriting. One of them has a big soul and jazz background. So we draw from a lot of different genres. It's all rock music, but one of the things I like about it is that we create a completely unique product because of all our different backgrounds in music.
So talking about unique, you have the Lentz Chicken Beauty Contest. I always want to say it backwards, the Beauty Chicken Contest, but it's the Chicken Beauty Contest.
It says most beautifulest chicken on the trophy.
Oh my gosh, most beautifulest. So how did that get started?
I was attending the Lentz Neighborhood Association meetings regularly. That's the neighborhood I live in. And they had somebody start the Chicken Beauty Contest 4.5 years ago and then drop out. And they'd already done some publicity for it. And I just didn't hesitate and I'm not really a volunteer for things. I was just like, I'll do it. That's me. Granted, I had 10 chickens at the time, and I knew that my wife would be a willing helper. We raise chickens, and it's fantastic. It's a positive event once a year at the Lentz Street Fair. That's a big draw for the fair. and it gets a lot of media attention for Lentz, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually used to live in Linz not too long ago. So, you and I met when you were 12, I
Yes.
think, and I was 17. We're writing a play about diversity. We were talking about when you first got here that we have such different memories because we were involved at such different ages. What was your takeaway from the show, or was there did it blend into the rest of your educational experiences around diversity and equity and everything else that you were doing at such a young age?
It was part of my diversity and equity experience and learning process. And I don't think I fully had the maturity at 12-year-old to truly appreciate what a wonderful experience that was. Afterward, I certainly did. When I got a little older in my later high school years, I recognized it. But I was, my hormones were raging, and I was more interested in, saying hi, trying to talk to girls. But it was also, I do remember it, and it was an extremely positive experience. What I liked most about it was that it humanized something. Well, people see, whether it's gender identity, whether it's racial identity, whether it's sexual orientation. Too often, it's easy to see those as issues, which they are issues. But it brought the human it brought out the personal aspect of how people experience things, which was important and valuable.
Fantastic. So, post-war radio, we have things on our table of how to follow that. What's your handle? How do we follow post-war radio and you?
So we're on Facebook as our only social media. None of us are very social media savvy, but you can find us there, or just really Google post-war radio. It'll come right up. We do have a website.
Upcoming gigs?
We are taking a little break, and that's just circumstantial. We're going to be recording, which I'm very excited about,
awesome.
our first actual album, and then we're also just vacations and stuff.
Sure. Awesome. Okay, so that sound means it's time for the last Fast Five. Are you ready for tonight's final Fast Five?
I'm ready.
All right. Do you have a pumpkin yet?
No.
Will you?
I hope to get one. I usually randomly pick up one at the grocery store when I see them. I plan to do so.
I always plan to go out to to Sophie's Island specifically for it, and then it's the last minute kind of Safeway purchase.
That's a fun way to do it. For the record, I am pro pumpkin.
Now that we have everyone going on the record on that, what's your favorite thing about Portland in the fall?
Beer. I love winter beers, particularly Jubile Ale.
I'm glad you said that you loved beers, because I am not fans of people that just like beer. So I vote in my pajamas with a big giant mug of coffee sitting on my couch. How do you vote?
My spouse and I had the not so brilliant idea to go to a bar and try to vote.
I love it, actually.
In retrospect, it doesn't seem like the most conducive place to discussing issues that you should probably do some serious thinking about. There are always issues that are worth discussing, so I will not be doing that this year. I think I voted fine last year in the end, but I'm going to sit down probably with a coffee or tea and discuss the issues at home.
That's fantastic. Everyone loves pizza. What's your favorite pizza place in Portland?
Place called Scotty's on Division.
Scotty's, where is this?
It is so good. He's from New York City, and man, he is a brilliant pizza maker. And it really feels like you're going into a New York style pizza joint. My half of my family is from the East Coast, from New York. I used to go there once a year, so I get pizza. I love pizza in New York City. One of those slices I had at Scotty's might be the best piece of pizza I've ever had in my life. It's
Ooh.
fantastic.
So division in what?
20 right around 23rd. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, okay. So just right over there.
Yeah.
Cool. A new place to go find a new place to go try out.
Do it.
Another podcast moment that I just get to cut out, and no one at home is ever going to know that happened.
But you're going to keep my tuning in, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
What's your happiest memory in town?
Well, since everybody else said falling in love,
It would be weird not to say it, right?
it may be disrespectful not to say it. Of course, that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I've really only truly had once. And it is the person I married, in case you're curious. But no, I want to talk about the Portland dining scene.
Yeah.
And some of my happiest moments have been eating food at Portland restaurants. My current favorite restaurant is called Ordineta, which is a Spanish restaurant on Alberta.
Fantastic. One of my guests, actually, on my first show, Joaquin owns La Bonita, just also right on Alberta. So I'll have to go make a stop for some Mexican food and then go over and get some tapas.
I would recommend it.
That's fantastic. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about?
I think that's it.
Got a couple more songs in you?
I do.
Awesome. Everyone, Jonah Willbach.
Heaven sent from across the river, all the way down to New Orleans. And I believed you from the morning to the nighttime. And I've been around. You gather again beneath the moonlight in the nighttime, get along and feel the ground. I've seen it all, I've been around the world to nowhere, and these here mountains all I found. Bring me along to the new beginning, under the log where the stories grow. And I believe we are delivered from the darkness, under the trees where the waters flow. You gather again beneath the moonlight in the nighttime, to get along and feel the ground. I've seen it all, I've been around the world to nowhere, and these here mountains all I found. Take me down where the water passes by. Under the moon we will drown. I don't know where to gather all the stones. All I know is what I found. We can do it again, we can change the waters, traveling down the Delta Way. And I will drip beneath the sunshine in the daytime. I'll sing you a song from across the bay. You gather again beneath the moonlight in the nighttime, to get along and feel the ground. I've seen it all, I've been around around the world to nowhere. And these here mountains all I found. And take me down where the water passes by. Under the moon we will drown. Okay, I got one more for you. On board a ferry to dream all alone. The river she shines, the steam engine moans. I left California on a clean rainy day, so I can stop drinking and you're far away. I slipped away on a cold winter's night. A bloody December, a motionless flight, all through the night, all through the night, through the night. Crept through the forest, I slept in alone. You call it nowhere, and I call it home. A wilderness courtyard, alone in the trees. The towering churches, the whispering breeze. I slipped away on a cold winter's night. A bloody December, a motionless flight, all through the night, all through the night. I'm in a place where I feel your disease. Under the branches I travel with ease. I get away from your desert of lights, where I can find peace, and I open my eyes, open my eyes. Feel like an ocean that runs into the bay. It takes me to nowhere, another cold day. I can feel nothing or feel like it all is falling behind me, so I can stand tall. I slipped away on a cold winter's night. A bloody December, a motionless flight, all through the night, all through the night. Thank you.
Again, for Jonah Willbach, everyone. And let's hear it again for my other guests, Charmian Creagle and Brooks. You've been the best My Real Portland audience. Thank you so much for coming out. Find us on myrealportland.com. Have a great night.
It's always been home, I've always been here, I've always got time for one more beer. So pick up a beer and pull up a chair and strike up the band. It's My Real Portland.